Patrick Murphy's here, RBC Trustee. How are you, sir?
Good, sir. Thank you for having me, Riley. Scott,
Thanks for coming in this morning.
Absolutely.
Had an interesting few days now, haven't you?
Yes, we have. A little bit of sleep and a lot of stuff going on.
How do we feel about how things are now?
Well, we're excited to finally get classes back. They should be opening the college again today, get students back in there, make sure that they get graduated on time and move forward.
Let's start from the start, which goes even before the strike happened, and that is the decision by the trustees on the Rock Valley College website to post the frequent bargaining updates. Thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
A lot of people made good use of that.
Because it gives taxpayers and students who are paying tuition the opportunity to see what was being discussed, what was being demanded, how far apart both sides were, and what was a reasonable proposal on both sides.
Well, you know, the board is 7 members representing 350,000 taxpayers, and we didn't think it would be fair for us to go out there and bargain with your money and not tell you what we were doing. We wanted to be as transparent as possible, and that's what we were hoping to accomplish with that.
And did you find that by doing it that way, allowing more people into the process, at least on a voyeuristic scale, they could look through the windows while the negotiations were going on and have a look at that? Was that a help? Was that a hindrance? Did it work a little both ways?
I think it worked a little bit of both ways. We had a lot of people in the community, such as yourselves, that said that they really appreciated that. So they were able to see what was going on and make an informed decision, I think. I don't think that both sides necessarily liked having that published out there. A lot of negotiations are not published, and I don't feel that lack of transparency really helps make any decisions out there.
Pat Murphy with us, Rock Valley College Trustee. It's Riley and Scott on WROK. Let's talk about what happened yesterday to the best of your knowledge, right? Sunday night, no vote from the union. The strike continues sometime yesterday afternoon. The Star has the news that they voted on the wrong proposal, perhaps, didn't have all the details. They say no, that the stuff that you gave them was wrong. They vote again last night. They say, okay, we'll come back to work. And even in their release, they say the contract language presented last night, not substantively different than the one rejected Sunday night. So what happened, if that's true, what happened between Sunday night and Monday night? Public pressure, rethinking?
Well, I think what it really comes down to is you have to go all the way back to Friday. Back on Friday, we had a federal mediator's proposal to the union. They went in there, it was a proposal. They said, you know, we had made an agreement that if they had passed that on Sunday and opened classes, went back to classes on Monday, that we would be voting on it tonight, actually. And we would move forward from there. Unfortunately, the union rejected that offer. What we came to find out during negotiations yesterday, we were back at the table the next day, and it kind of became apparent that maybe that some of the numbers and language was incorrect in the presentation to the union. So they went back. They kind of ended talks and said, let's go back and go for another vote last night. So there was nothing that we changed. There was nothing that was changed by our part. I believe in reading the story, or it was a Facebook post from the Faculty Association or something, I can't remember where it was, that they had said that the handout they had was correct, but the presentation slide was incorrect. So they had the correct information in hand. They just didn't present it properly, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, there was one piece that was different from the others, and that would have been the PowerPoint presentation sitting up on a screen someplace, but the handout in the other language was all reflective of what the board had said, correct?
That's my understanding. Obviously, I was not in the room during the vote, but that was my understanding. I know that from our side, I am part of the negotiating team, and we hadn't changed anything, any language or anything else from the Friday federal mediator's proposal.
Let's talk, if we can, about some of the details from the proposal, which you guys will vote on tonight to put into effect. There's a couple of main areas. One, of course, the salary. The initial board of trustees offer was a flat number through the years of the contract.
Correct.
The union wanted flat numbers plus percentage increases on top of normal salaries. It looks like the proposal says just the flat amount, no percent increase for all 5 years of the contract. Is that right?
That's right. We had a lot of talk from the community saying, what about these, the newer professors making less money? And this helps younger professors or newer professors at the college who are going to get a larger percentage of their salary and an increase to help offset some of the healthcare costs. Healthcare, although healthcare and salary are absolutely two separate things, we do recognize that the costs do go up. The costs are going up for all of us. My healthcare is Visa. My healthcare costs are going up.
Okay.
You know? So we did want to go with a flat rate across the board. That helps be a little bit more, disperse the raise a little bit more equitably.
And when you get to the end of the deal, you know, average salary is around 66. So when you get to year 4 and year 5, you're still talking about, if you were to make it a percentage basis for an average professor, that's still, what, 3.5% in that range?
It's still a pretty good percentage. I want to make sure that everybody also realizes that when we talk about the average salary of $66,000, that's on a 9-month year.
Right.
That's on a 15-hour schedule. They can pick up overloads in additional classes, things like that as well. You know, when you look at some of the higher salaries that we had also posted, you know, it goes up to $142,000. That's obviously not a standard salary. That is picking up some overloads, some extra additional classes. So although costs might go up for healthcare, you can pick up an extra class and you can help offset that easily.
On the healthcare issue, previously 82.5% picked up by the college, 17.5% picked up by the union members. The proposal says that we take it to 22.5% for the employee, 25% for spouse, family, child. Deductibles also are up a little bit. Is that in the range of where the board wanted to see that fall?
Yes. You know, I want to remind you that it wasn't 82.5% picked up by the college. It's 82.5% picked up by the taxpayer. That's your taxpayer dollars. We pool it together and help pay those costs. So, yes, it's paid for by the college, but that's where we get it. That's one of our, you know, revenues. That's 2 of our revenue streams, actually. But we did want to see those costs go up. Rising healthcare costs that we can't control. You know, the health cost of healthcare is going up for everyone, and it's controlled by the employee. You know, we can't tell them, you know, how often they can do this or do that. So we had to help offset those costs to the employee, so we could, you know, make the budgets.
Now, we had talked with great interest about the end of someone's time there. They're heading toward retirement, 6% at the on that final year to raise up that amount of salary and pension overall. And there was quite a disparity. We would like that for a number of years rather than just one. How did it all shake out?
The final contract is going to have a 6% increase in for specific employees going towards retirement. Will be a 6% increase for 1 year. So I think originally it was 3 years is what they were asking, and we settled on 1 year.
Is it 1 year for the first couple of years, and then it goes to 2 years after 18? That's the information I have at my fingertips, at least.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't really know exactly on the 6%.
That was a new offer, though, by the board on behalf of the taxpayers to say, hey, at the end of your career, we're going to jump you by 6. That increases both your pay and impacts your pension down the road. What was the thinking behind offering that? That seems to me like an offer that eventually will be attempted to be expanded by the union in future negotiations, and those costs can increase very quickly when you talk about pensions and COLAs and compounded interest, you know, well into the future for taxpayers picking up those pension costs.
Yeah, I don't think you actually. It's not actually a new offer. This is something that's actually very common.
Okay.
It's
somewhere I had read it was a new retirement. It was somewhere in the
amongst
material.
Community colleges across the state. You know, that's actually it's a bargaining tool, if you will.
So a lot of this, because I heard a lot of references made, well, we've got to do this because this is what other colleges are doing, and we don't want to lose fine people to other institutions of learning because they're doing this. So a lot of it was looking over the fence to see what the neighbors were doing.
Well, and that's great when the neighbors are the same as Rockford. That's hard to find. You know, I don't want to be the same as COD. They've got their own problems going on right now. But, you know, when you look at who do we compare ourselves to, we want to compare ourselves to like communities. And, you know, we tend to, depending on what side you're on, we compare ourselves to who we want to compare ourselves to. So when you look at that, you know, the other thing, too, is we can't compare ourselves to private institutions. You know, to universities and things like this. We do have a great faculty. Everyone in Rockford knows that. We're glad to have them back in the classroom. We've got a lot of, you know, well-educated people there. They're doing great things and everything else. But we are a community college, you know, and we have to keep community in mind. That's first and foremost community college. If someone wants to be a university professor at Florida, then be a university professor in Florida. But we are Rock Valley College of Rockford.
Pat Murphy with us, Rock Valley College Trustee. It's Riley and Scot on WROK. You talked about funding sources previously for college. It's, you know, property tax, some state funding, and then tuition. And so when the union strikes, you know, they're not striking against the board. They're not striking against Pat Murphy. They're striking against students who pay tuitions and they're striking against taxpayers, whether they pay through the state or through the local property taxes. That's why this discussion, I know there are some that might have said, look, whatever they want, they earned it, give it to them. But at the same time, you've got budgets, you have funding limitations, and you have to live within those means.
Well, we do.
Or tuition starts skyrocketing.
Well, tuition has been skyrocketing. It's gone from $62 an hour to $101 from 2006 to 2015. And we held tuition this year, and that's something that's very hard to do. State funding's been flat for years. Springfield can't pass a budget. We're not getting paid, from July 1st on, because until they release a budget, we haven't had any increase there. Our property tax rate, we've been told, just increase property taxes. We don't have the authority to raise property taxes. The rate is the rate, the levy is the levy, and as property taxes or property values decline, so do tax revenue dollars. So the only place it comes is on the burden of the student. The budget, currently at about $62 million for our operating budget, 77% of that is above the line, or salaries and benefits. We cannot control those costs. The only thing we can control is 23% of that. So when you look at the overall $62 million of an operating budget, in 2006, it was about a third, which is the design. But today, 41% of that budget is on tuition. So if you looked at the $1 million, there's 58,000 credit hours. $1 million in extra monies, extra salaries, is about $17 per credit hour. With a 5-year decline in enrollment, that doesn't work out. And it's not $1 million we're looking for, it's $5 million.
And it's interesting how some people will look at that unlike they would look at any other business, which is, hey, we're losing customers, is one way to break it down. We're hemorrhaging some customers here. So, what we should do is raise prices.
Well, that doesn't matter. The logic doesn't necessarily have to prevail. Some people will say that it doesn't matter what you do to tuition. Well, we've been raising it, and that hasn't helped. So we try to freeze it. We've been building buildings. When you look at how are we going to come up with that money comes through enrollment. Enrollment and tuition. I can either jack up tuition or I can increase enrollment. We had some great things happening. The aviation building, everybody knows about it. We went from 40 students to about 120 students. That's additional enrollment. That's where revenue comes from. The partnership with NIU, bring bachelor's and master's degrees right here in Rockford. That's an amazing thing. The partnership with OSF St. Anthony on our campus, that's going to bring enrollment to us. That's what we need. That helps pay our bills.
And we talked about the contract and the negotiations, and let's talk about some of the things moving forward. This partnership with NIU seems, and the word game changer is used a lot, but that seems like a real accomplishment and a real game changer for the community.
Well, we think it is. It was a lot of work. Trustee Dunn had a lot to do with that, getting everybody together. Mike Mastriani obviously has been in talks with NIU for years, really. So it's a big deal for us. It's a big deal for Rockford. Currently, students, they have to leave and either find housing down in DeKalb, or they just leave altogether and don't come back. This helps local students that are going to Rock Valley continue right there on campus, get a 4-year. And we have Woodward Governor that's putting in, 1,700 jobs, 1,500 jobs, whatever it is. UTC is hiring. All these jobs are coming here, and all the engineers are leaving. This is going to help our community educate engineers right here in our community and stay.
Also, you mentioned the partnership with OSF, the College of Nursing there. One of those careers that we've heard for the longest time. Listen, we need more. Well, we need a lot more nurses. Well, here's your opportunity.
Yeah, healthcare professionals is the fastest growing career. So building that college, it frees up some of our space in another building, puts all of our healthcare careers under one building, and then the partnership with OSF. Our students can just move right upstairs. Get their 4 years in, and at a discounted rate as well. So it really helps our community that way. It helps OSF. It helps the whole community.
You had mentioned the numbers last segment too on the aviation program. How has that increased just recently?
It's with the number of students.
Yeah.
It's tripled. We were at about 40 a year would come in, 30 to 35 would graduate a year, and that was because of space. If you look at the new aviation hangar that we just built, the old aviation building and parking lot would fit inside the hangar of the new building. So that's a great big win for us. Matter of fact, the foundation is having our 50th anniversary gala event there coming up. So I encourage people to buy a ticket, come up for a gala event. It's going to be great.
So contract negotiation done now, and you just fade into the background a bit as a trustee once again. Is that how things go for the next few years?
Under the radar would sure be nice. So, yeah.
So take a break and go back to the anonymity that being a trustee confers onto a person.
Well, hopefully, I always say, our job as a trustee isn't to be front and center. Unfortunately, we sometimes we have to do that. Our job is, I think of myself as Secret Service for the president. I'm there to take a bullet for him,
And for taxpayers, I mean, look, it couldn't have been easy to take some of the emails and such that came across. But Joe Sosnowski had a real nice post yesterday up on his website too about someone standing up for both students by holding tuition and for taxpayers who would be on the hook for the increases. So thanks again to the board for sharing the details, for updating everybody on the bargaining positions and updates as time went on, and things went fairly well in the end.
Yes, yeah.
We got about a minute left. This could probably get you into trouble, but that's why we're here to give people that opportunity. Anything you want to say, anything you wanted to get off your chest that you hadn't had a chance to before while all this is going on?
No, I just wanted to say, thanks to you guys for letting me come in today. I'm glad the faculty is back. I'm glad for the students, the college, the community, and everyone. The only thing I could say is, I would hope that next time, we do get a lot of those emails, Scott. Unfortunate. They only have part of the information. There's a lot of really, really misinformed people, and I would encourage them, instead of sending an email in and just chastising, maybe send it in and ask a question. We don't mind answering that. I don't mind answering my email. I am elected public official, and that's my job. My job is to answer the public.
Outstanding. Well, Pat, thanks for taking the time to come in with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.